what is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the 7th album by rapper Lecrae. Basically this product is called Anomaly and it came out in the late summer of 2014. So the thing about this product here is just the factoid that particularly this is more religious hip hop, not as full bound religious, but it has like that mild, or it does have that relative kind of connotation without it, just a little bit more conscious pitches like that within the aspect. But even within that particular affair, I feel like this album has a pretty contemporary type aspect where this album is very similar to NF, pitches like that within the format, that despite the fact that you would think it's more conscious within the format, it actually has. This is not softcore whatsoever within the pitch of it being mild sauce or something within that particular format, is saying that it's just tame or something within those aspects. I would definitely say here, the only real thing about this album that it doesn't have comparatively to like the trendy type stuff that was going on in mid 2010s pitches like that, 2014, 2015, 2016, is just the explicit content. So it's basically like just getting a rap album without the explicit content on there, but it's the same. It has aspects on here, and I would say there's a number of kind of smoke-centric, drink-centric type songs pitches like that, so it's the same affability, just without the illicit language as far as those fairs can have, which is some blistering type appeal, very similar to NF as to how those particular fairs can happen within those pitches. Now, the thing about this particular album, Lecrae, within these pitches, is this is one that I've been planning to get to. I had picked up the CD from the library pitches like that in the past. I had plans to get to this as far back as probably 2022, 2023 pitches like that, but just never got around to it. Could not figure out the appropriate spot to integrate it back in 2023, 2024 when I had my old computer with this particular album on there. So decided to review it here, pitches like that. Wanted to get to it within this vacay offshoot that I've been talking about for the past good while as far as this first gonna have. So excellent type of appeal. This is a simple enough classic. Just being able to say recommend all 15 of the 15 songs in here. This album is just a complete, thorough, clean sweep as far as this fair is gonna happen. Just with the aspect of like the way it nails some of these type tones within the way it nails these tones just within the pitch behind it. This is a fun type album. It has some good affability behind it. And the thing I would consider moreover is just kind of like Tupac was kind of nostalgic and reflective and contemplative also. It's just kind of the pitch that is just kind of within the fashion. When it says conscious hip hop, it's really not so much of like square like where it's like, you know, oh, go pick up like 75 books and, you know, study real hard and, you know, eat super healthy and, you know, drink 50 bottles of water a day, pitches like that. It's not really within that format as far as those fairs gonna happen. It's just kind of the pitch as far as staying within the tone. It just has extra kind of food for thought of just relative kind of contemplate and just kind of some degree of regret or atonement about the aspects of the particular quick livings as far as those pitches can have. But I look within the tone, it's really, for the most part, it's not like it's just after every single bar some pitch like that where it's just like, oh, I gotta, you know, I have to double back and correct my wrongs within those pitches. So it's really not square like within the aspect. Lecrae is by no means of the stretch a square or something within that mentality. There's actually albums that have explicit content that come off as more square like and are less fun within those products than this particular album within those pitches. Not to say like this would be, not to say that the concept of conscious or religious hip hop is within the foul sense, but this kind of pitch as far as saying that this is really a pretty litty type project. There's a number of moments on here that can keep up with some of those type folks that were ripped out of the mid and late 2010s pitches like that. Even this particular album still has its starkness and overall sparky type flair about it, despite the fact that it's over 10 years old now within those pitches. So it just continues to have that particular claim. It's real trendy. This is an album that hit #1 on the Billboard 200 with the top album sales pitches like that, so it definitely did some damage. It was pretty much more on the religious charts pitches like that, but still some good type appeals, being able to say that this was a good crossover, considering the fact that it hit #1 on the Billboard 200, which is the total of all album sales in the United States as far as those fairs going to happen. Definitely did some damage around that particular flare as far as those pitch halves. It's just within the tone as far as saying this has some good aspects here, very litty type aspects within the tone. It's just kind of an esoteric and austere type product that has its appeal within the aspects of just delivering upon the tones of being able to have like some good type appeals, just minus, despite not being in the commonplace spotlight as far as what's first going to happen. So yeah, apparently this thought, as an extra thought on here, there were some folks that Lecrae had considered collaborating with, like Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, L. Varner, Nipsey Hussle, and some of those affluences on here are noted within the pitch, that there are some particular pitches that a good number of these songs, there's like a mild couple Kanye West ad-libs that feel like something he had to do with. Probably can't designate this. I probably would have been able to tell you just like 7 or 8 minutes ago, but within pitches I don't remember as full bound now. There's some Kendrick hooks there's some Kendrick similar hooks on a couple of these songs in here that I probably will be able to discern. I can't I should be able to actually point those out. And I was also able to find some of the Nipsey Hustle type moments within the pitch behind. So this has that particular format, kind of like it has some traces of like mixtape type trap on here. Pitches like that. This feels like a Dat Piff kind of left over some of those type forms, not in terms of quality, but the pitch as far as saying this has some of that relative spillover. I want to say that Lecrae was on Dat Piff pitches like that. He did drop a few mixtapes, which apparently like one particular project called Church Close 2 had that particular. There was a Church Close 2 that was on Dat Pit pitches like that. So I want to say there were some products. I'm going to have to get to some of those, but just on the pitch. So yeah, 4 singles off this product, but just within the pitch, just being able to say I recommend all 15. Recommend all 15 songs in here. So this album gets a 10 out of 10, which is excellent type appeals, blistering within the pitch behind it. Nothing. The lead single's like a bouncy but contemplative, kind of mid 2010s ratchet fun to kind of get within these aspects here. Just like a good get crunk and basic bop to kind of have within these tangents, just kind of drink. It's like some good drink relish as far as those pitch have. So just bask in like some good drink, get some beers going, some pitches like that, some Hennessy, just pitches like that within the tone. I'm not as full bound sure if like particularly Lecrae formats like the concept of really full bound talking about getting fucked up to that extent, but it's just gonna pitch that this has like those good aspects of having those particular type moments of getting towards it. It's basically just like some R and bass and ratchet type music, like the DJ Mustard type sound, just in a more kind of thought provoking type content. So it's just conscious hip hop doing like the R and bass that was real popular with DJ Mustard back in 2014. To some of those type moments, this has that particular pitch. It's a good, nice one. Pretty trendy and affable. Just nails the appeal behind it. Fear is the second single. This is another nice one. Now within the appeal, these singles did chart on like the religious charts, pitches like that. So it's not like just because those particular charts are separate, usually from the most part from like the normal charts, some of these did hit #1 and some and #2 and #4 within some of those type aspects within the tone, like that typical type format of what they did on those charts. Not going to consistently list all of those 3 or 4 or 5 different charts that they have, but it's just in the pitch that a lot of these did pretty good damage. Like I said, this is the #1 album on the Billboard. Like I was saying, this is the #1 album on like the Billboard 200, so it was a big deal around the time when it came out. So it's just good aspects there. But Fear is the second single. It's like a brooding kind of night wind embrace kind of get here, just a bristly kind of snack run and wintry kind of smoke zest pitches like that. It's like a good K-Dot kind of fizz here, and it's just an overall hot type song. So this is one that has similarities like Kendrick, like on songs like Swimming Pools, Drank, and like some of those type ones. Is some of those particular party type songs that Kendrick would kind of do. Maybe more or less like Money Tree, some of those just kind of syrupy type hooks that he would have on Good Kid, Mad City. Now, Kendrick had not quite dropped Pimp a Butterfly just yet, but it's just kind of within pitches some of those type moments. Similar to moments like Money Trees, The Recipe, Swimming Pools, Drank, some of those particular type tones within pitch behind it. But yeah, it's just a real bristly type one. This really feels like the aspect like a biting kind of winter where you go in to miss these snack runs, but just kind of getting towards the pitch of this, having like a miss the fair, just kind of out and about in like the kind of in the foresty kind of night wind pitches like that. So some good type of feels. Do you like the tone behind that? All I Need Is You is the third single. It's like a vibrant and jubilous kind of summer evening pep to kind of get here within the aspect. Just kind of some relief from Day Drudge, I'd say here, and this is a pretty starry type one. All I Need Is You has like some good Sean Kingston kind of summer pink skies kind of breeze aspects about it as far as what's first gonna happen. Just reminds like a Tupac song, just a little bit more. Just religious tones about this one. This one's a little bit more so within that pitch compared to some of these type songs within the format of it. But it's just kind of the format as far as saying this works for like a good. It's kind of in between type session, just figuring out to just get like standard snacks and goodies pitches like that. I'd say within the product of it. It's kind of like a more optimistic type relief from like the 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock p.m. type day shift pitches like that within those fairs. So it's just a good embalm for some of that. Messengers is the fourth single. This is like a standard pretty good radio drag here to pretty good standard radio grab here to get. It's like a strengthy kind of breakthrough amidst like usual makeshift slag, I'd say, within these aspects here. Just kind of some NF and Kendrick vibes about this particular fair. Just kind of an airwave grab as far as this pitch kind of goes. So this radio kind of appeal. This is just one of those typical type heroin type ones of just like a sobering type upkeep within the pitch of just some of those particular songs like Messengers are just some real talk kind of songs within the pitch of just some upkeep within those formats of just some breakthrough as far as those formats can happen just amidst the pitch of just like hopping to it kind of being snappy and aspected towards the concept of some this aspect of productiveness forward as far as this pitch can happen. It's a hustle song, but it's kind of a blue collar type hustle song. It's not so much like the money grubby kind of grit type hustle within pitches like that, but it's the actual form. It's just a more straightforward and kind of blue collar type format within the pitch as far as that fair kind of happens. Just more amidst like the work shift pitches like that, I'd say within those appeals. So it's just not as much urban and Dat Piff kind of related, but there are songs for that on this particular album. It's not to say that this is trying to bridge away from that particular fair. It's not a square type album. It's just the pitch to just have a little bit more amidst like the composition behind as far as what's supposed to happen. Just a good breakthrough type singles. This one the pitch. Now I want to say Messengers won some awards in 2015 as far as those first kind of so that song. Some of those type of songs did pretty well within the aspects behind it. Yeah, I recommend every song off this album. So just to get to some of these here, Anomaly, the title track's a pretty nice one. It's like a dreary and hungover, kind of Outcast and UGK vibes about this song here. Just food for thought. Sounds like some good food for thought kind of commerce, I'd say. Pitch like that good song to talk to a little bit and drift as far as those first kind of. So just in the pitch goes along with songs like I would say like probably Fear, but just in a more kind of cruise around type fashion, just kind of amidst the fashion. There are a good handful of smoke type songs within these aspects here as far as those pitch can have, and just kind of miss the product of it, but it's just kind of the more format. Like I said, it doesn't designate as full bound. It's kind of within the conscious sense of paying attention towards it, but you just kind of insert these as you will as far as those pitch can have, and just picking up like a swisher, just the form, picking up a pack of swishers, some of those type forms within the pitch behind it. If you like songs like Messengers, Broken is a nice one for some of those type pitches. This reminds of like 2010's kind of NF and Eminem type vibes within pitches like that. It's kind of like a blue collar kind of get along, I'd say here, just some weekday traffic. This is also good for like some snack runs pitches like that, just more in a commerce type setting, not so much on foot, but just kind of the pitch of just having the format of saying, you know, I'm gonna drive by this more distant gas station, pick up a few supplies, pitches like that, get to the format of what's gonna particularly happen within those fares. It's kind of the product of this transit type modes within pitch like a standard day brush as far as this pitch gun goes. So just the aspects of that particular type fare. In certain senses, like this album came out before Eminem's revival, but I feel like some of those type pitches, it actually felt like Eminem took some degree of inspiration from like NF and folks like that, and like some of those particular type folks off of that particular fare as far as the makeshift kind of moments kind of happen within that. It's just kind of the pitch that I feel like this particular song Broken feels like a revival sung by Eminem from way out in 2017, and just standard NF type moments from like Manchen and his 2014 EP, some of those type moments within the pitch. So this is kind of that particular fair, this is that same sort of makeshift dredge within the typical kind of car commerce push of like a mid 2010s type bop. Give In is a nice one as well. This reminds me of like Eminem's Survival from his 2013 album Marshall Mathers LP 2. It's like a good anthemic kind of sports bar and Wingstop kind of noise kind of get within those aspects. It really has like that survival type feel within the same sort of pitch behind it. And a lot of these have some pretty excellent hooks on here. It's just the same sort of pitch. Like the chick that was on Survival is pretty similar to like this Crystal Nicole chick that's on this particular album. It's just a good pitch behind it. Definitely some evening scene fun as far as what's first going to happen. So like I was saying, there are some moments for that on here. Songs like Say I Won't, songs like Give In, songs like Broken kind of do this. Maybe not so much Broken, but Give In, Say I Won't, I'd say Dirty Water and Wish, some of these type ones, Timepiece, some of these type aspects within the tone as far as some of these social type ones, but there are a number of moments for like the step out. There's not as many full bound within the pitch of like Night Venue. I mean, this has like some of these moments for like Night Venue kind of blitzes within the pitch, but it's not. This is just a more kind of a miss like the loud pack of it, but it's not. Despite the fact that they're not 5 or 8 songs like Give In and Say I Won't does not mean that this, despite the fact that there are not 5 or 8 songs like Give In and Say I Won't does not mean this is a square type album within those pitches. It's just kind of formal. But yeah, speaking of Dirty Water, it's like an early bird kind of mid 2010s trap knock to kind of get here. Just a hella, this has some hella sound about it. It's definitely a good song to get you flossed on pitches like that. Just have some smokes, 2 pitches like that, and it's just an excellent loud pack type one. So this is when I was saying when this is a pretty trendy type album, just to miss the pitch. There weren't a super ton of albums that really had this particular thunderous typeness around 2014 pitches like that. I mean, you did have mixtapes kind of doing this on Dat Piff, but in terms of like album type format, this was a little bit before, like, particularly this did come out before Future's Dirty Sprite 2, some type pitches. So just kind of missed the aspect. It's like the IG era starting to kick off within a tone. This may not be the earliest of the early birds for like the mid 2010s trap, but this is definitely a pretty relatively, even if it's not 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning kind of early bird, it might be like 5:30, 6:15 early bird within some type pitch. So it's just kind of the format as far as saying had that relative aspect behind it. It's definitely some of the initial type ones. Goes with the same song Wish here. It's another nice one for those pitches, like a good combo with Dirty Water, I'd have to say within these aspects here. Just kind of a trendy mid 2010s stunt type tune pitches like that. Just a nice, this is like a nice reflective but breezed out as far as those pitches can have. So just within tone, same sort of contemplation with songs like Nothing, some of those type ones within format, just kind of aspect of having some floss, but just kind of having that particular floss type fashion, but just having the aspect of just like extra type fare as far as just kind of having that floss, but kind of mildly questioning it as far as those pairs can have just from the pitch behind it. So good type tones. Runners is a nice one. It's probably one of my more favorite songs on here as far as those pitch kind of having. It's like a house party kind of loud dreariness to kind of get within these aspects here. Just some enjoyment with like a good span as far as those pairs kind of have. So just to miss the pitch of like lengthy, just definite kind of lengthy kind of nice within pitches as far as the format of just having probably like some house party carnage that lasts from probably at least like 6 o'clock, 6:30 p.m. to about 5, 6:30 in the morning pitches like that. Just some good tight tones just to miss in that type fare. Easily were songs like Swimming Pools, Drank by Kendrick, and some of those type songs songs would be played, pitches like that. Other type ones within some of those type pitches, like when you think of songs like Dance Ass by Big Sean, some of those type pitches just to miss like that mid-2010s trends type set off. I mean, there's plenty of these to list, but just to get to it, then the quickness of the reviews, just pitches like that in terms of other type folks, I'd say. But yeah, Runners is like a good song to grab drink. Some ratchet bass nearby pitches like that, just to miss the sleaze like the standard night shift, and excellence as far as those tones can have. This is the overall lit type one. Definitely has some excellent appeal. Timepiece is a real nice one as well within those pitches, like a dreary kind of 2010s hustle tune to kind of get within these aspects. This definitely reminds of Nipsey Hussle from like his mixtape days, some of those type formats. It's one of those type ones. Would have been real excellent if he had dropped a verse on this album. I mean, I like the fact that this album has the impact of what it did, but it definitely would have been pretty blistering had Kendrick and Nipsey Hussle and some of those type folks, and probably even Kanye, dropped actual verses on here. I think when you look at it in retrospect, the aspect of saying that, yeah, he probably doesn't have regrets about it within those pitches, but if it had them on there, when you look after it now, there's no way of getting what Nipsey Hussle could have done on here because he's unfortunately deceased. But it's just kind of the format that back in those days it would have been pretty wicked to have gotten those tones. But it's just the pitch for saying at least the affluence behind Nipsey Hussle's on this song Timepiece. So some good type appeals. It's like a good catchy kind of mixtape grid about this song here, Timepiece, and it's a very active type one with the pitch. So just that flair. This feels ripped out of like the early 2010s pitches like that. Just Dat Piff type song within the pitch, but just in an album type format, just another trendy type one. Despite the fact that the mixtape, the Dat Piff type sound was starting to kind of wane a little bit by late 2014, it's a good type pitch to get some reminders of that, just like in a particular format that kind of blends like early 2010s with mid 2010s pitches like that. So good type tones. Good Bad Ugly is another nice one as well, as like a homely and real talk kind of reflect to kind of get here. Just very Tupac like nostalgia pitches like that. It's kind of the aspect of some of those type ones like Life Goes On and I Ain't Mad at You, some of those type pitches within format, Hearts of Men, some of those particular type formats, Picture Me Rolling. It's a good, nice one to smoke a joint to and just have like some calm drives as far as those pitch can have. So just to miss the pitch, like this is kind of a somber type song, but it's just within the pitch. It's just not harrowingly so within the pitch. It's not as much horrorcore in that usual kind of soul bleed pitches like that where it would be just real morose. I mean, this is kind of like a dredgy type song within the frustrated. It's kind of like a solemn type song within the dredge and the aspect of it, but it's not as morose as like particular folks that could have those particular fashions. So I feel like this has a relative kind of dark factor about it within a relative type sense, but it's actually not that harrowing within that particular tone as full bound. I think within the tone it has, like I could say more or less within the fashion, there is some dark shrouds about this particular. And say within the tones there is some dark fashions about this particular album, but it's actually not as full bound, kind of down in the dumps like certain folks, like when you think of NF and like when you think of NF and Tech Nine and Eminem and Hopsin, some of those particular type folks within those formats, it's not so much face value, but it's just within the pitch that it is dark, but it's just not sulk. And it's an interesting type tone kind of have those formats because Drake would kind of do that as well. He would kind of at least brood, but it's just more moodiness with him. But it's just kind of pitch as far as saying this has like some of those dark type moments, but it's just more caught up in the moment of just the enjoyment. Because this is the pitch as far as saying this is a pretty quick album within these aspects between songs like Dirty Water, Runners, Wish. Give In, some of these type moments on here, Nothing, just moments like that. Even like the makeshift songs have some relative kind of briskiness about it because you're just busybody with like the caught up with like the day fair pitches like that. So it's just kind of within the tone that there's not too many spare moments for like extra thoughts and just kind of the factoid of just having like those moments of just like time wasting too much overly amounts of rumination pitches like that. So it's just one of the tones. It's a pretty quick album. I like the tone behind it. I don't know if I talk about Welcome to America, but this is a nice one here. This gives like Drake kind of Night Shift, kind of worst behavior vibes from his Nothing Was the Same album pitches like that. It's like a good City Streets kind of step out, I'd have to say here. Just kind of some trap oriented typeness in the format. So this is kind of an early bird, kind of mid 2010s trap pitches like that. Just that same sort of bravado type fare, just like some pep in your step, just kind of brash type aspects within the tone, but I definitely like the tone behind as far as those tones kind of happen. Definitely some blistering type aspects just within the tone of just easy kind of snack run type music with just the product of just feeling awake and alive pitches like that as far as those tones can happen for like some good homies kind of step out. Just going out with pals, having some good product that like some night breezes. I don't know if I talked about Say I Won't either, but it's another quality one. It's like a low-key kind of nightclub energy to kind of get here, just get basic buzz pitches. It'd be a good, nice song to get a basic buzz pitches like that, marinate a little bit, have some standard chatter, some of those particular type pitches, good Friday nights type tune pitches like that. And it's like a good neon kind of sludgy enjoy as far as this pitch kind of. So just a this kind of more hole in the wall type energy. I mean, the thing about this album within the pitch is I feel like Lecrae, despite the fact that this hit #1 was still not as blisteringly popular compared to probably folks like Big Sean and Juicy J and some of those type folks, and Jeezy, some of those particular type folks within the format. It's just interesting, despite the fact that this is kind of religious hip hop, this the fact that it's kind of off the wayside in terms of like the places where you would catch some of this night venue type energy. So it's not, there is a certain degree of sludge factor about this that I was kind of actually concerned that some of these nightclub songs where you would hear Lecrae in like a night venue pitch like that probably would have been a little bit more spiffy or a little bit more like glowy within some of those type aspects. So it's just a nice tone to spell gets for some of that particular type bar hoppiness. Really has some banner type appeal. Distant appeal. So as far as saying, I think I talked about every song on here within those aspects. So it's another song I don't think I talked about on here, which is Outsiders. So Outsiders is a nice one. Speaking of songs I don't think I've talked about on here either, I don't think I've talked about Outsiders. So this is a nice one. This reminds like Rob Level and Drake, some of those early 2010s type moments, like the standard kind of Young Money era of like the first half of the 2010s, pitches like that. Some good conduit moments for like some night rounds. It's like some good conduit moments for like some night rounds pitches like that. Good song to spruce up to and primp as far as those aspects going to happen before heading to like a step out pitches like that. It's a good song to peel out to within those formats. So just the initial conduct of it being like 6:45, 7:15, figuring out what's going to happen as far as getting ready to step out and get towards the night, seeing some of those particular type projects. Just that initial kind of excitement and primer as far as those aspects going to happen for giving goosebumps, some of that particular type of appeal. So just checking the cell phone, figuring out what's happening, interpreting some people, just some of those aspects as far as those tones going to happen. So just a good type pitch for those fares. So I look after. So that's the product of this album as far as those pitch going to happen. This album gets a 10 out of 10 within those aspects. Social score, I'm going to go ahead and give it 10 out of 10 as well. And that's within the pitch as far as saying it might get like a 9.75, but I think I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 just because the appeal is very blistering. There's actually more social moments on here, considering the fact that when you think of religious albums, this is actually an aspect where it's not that gummy down in pitches like that. It's just kind of form. The only real thing about this album, and it's not say even that like that horror to trace, you know, Chameleonaire, folks like that, and so occasionally folks like Chameleonaire, LL Cool J will have non-cussing albums pitches like that. So it's just been form as far as saying this is pretty blistering and this is pretty hammered up within the pitch. There's plenty of songs to get tore up to, even if Lecrae himself does not designate it within the pitch. It's just kind of form as far as saying you just take it and insert as you just take towards it and insert it as you will as far as those pitches kind of have. So just within the tone, pretty aspected and just overall sparky type album within the pitches behind it. There's some night venue songs pitches like that, some good house party bleeds, some good aspects for like some Kendrick kind of house party sludge, some of those particular type formats. Good hooks on here, a number of these. Give In, songs like Nothing, Fear, Give In, Say I Won't, some of these type moments, other pitches like that. Plenty of these moments on here, Runners, some of these type aspects within the tone behind it has some pretty apple type radio grabs and fizz as far as those pitches come. So it's just within the tone as far as saying that pretty much the only real thing that this album full bound lacked is just like a pretty much the only full-bound thing I think this album lacked within the pitch behind it, like I was saying, is just those Nipsey Hussle and Kendrick features pitches like that. But other than that particular tone, it's just the aspect. I mean, it's not like it's a horrid thing within those pitches. The format is just kind of extracurricular type complaints that probably could have bolstered this album even further. But it is a classic within those PLs. Plenty of good social dynamics pitches like that. The commerce songs, the makeshift songs, the house party, and just overall venue type modes for pitches like that. It's excellent type feel. So in terms of the future, like Lecrae, not really as full-bound sure what he's been up to. I know I have noticed he dropped a couple projects at least in like the early 2020s. I don't know his full-bound what he's been up to. I don't know his full-bound know what he's been up to in these immediate recent times. So within the pitch, I'm definitely going to get to some more of these like Church Close 2, the mixtape from 2013, some of those pitches. There's plenty more of these I want to get to. I want to get to like Gravity from 2012. That was a pretty trendy type one as well. So we'll get to some of these type ones. There's definitely more Lecrae on the forecast eventually as far as this first going to happen. But this is basically like a mid-2010s classic, and it's overall kind of underappreciated classic that despite like the relative conduct of what may be thought about in terms like the aesthetic of this album, it's really not to be believed. This is a pretty just overall vicious type album that has a lot of good assets and just excellent facets and qualities about it.